Dear students, today we are going to discuss the chapter 5, Networking and Communications in the Information Technology for Business course. So myself, Lakshana Salarachi, attached to the Department of Information Technology, will now deliver the Networking and Communication chapter. So here are the learning objectives of this chapter. So upon the successful completion of this chapter, you will gain the knowledge about what is a computer network and what are its applications. Also, you can identify different data transmission characteristics, outline the different wired and the wireless networking media, and also we will identify different networking architecture with their networking types, and also we will discuss the different types of networking devices with their purpose. Then you can identify the most common communication protocols and the networking standards that are currently used. And also we will look into some of the trends in the networking field. Then let's start from what is a computer network. So what do you mean by a computer network? So computer network is a collection of computers and all the other hardware devices. It could be the hardware devices like printers. So those are connected together so that all the users can share these resources. So resources could be the hardware, software, and also the data you can easily share with one another and work together. And when in a network, what you do is you share all these resources and work together using electronic communication. So it is a collection of computers and all the hardware devices connected together so that users can share these resources as well as electronically communicate with each other. So the internet that you all use today, so that is one example of computer network. So what you all are doing in internet is what happens in a computer network. So it is a very wide area network. So where anyone around the world can connect to and work with. And also there could be networks that are within a small area, like which you can see in your computer labs at the schools and in your university offices likewise. So there are computer networks range from small private networks to the internet that are widely used by individuals and businesses today. And then we will talk about what are the networking applications. So as I have mentioned earlier also, the internet is one such application of the networking technology. So it is the largest computer network in the world. And then the telephone services that you all are using. So it could be your landline phone connection, which is we call as plain old telephone service, POTS network. And also it could be the mobile phone devices that you are using, the smartphones, wireless phones. So they use a wireless network for the communication. And all these are some applications of using the network. So you could have cellular phones that communicate using the cellular technology, satellite phones that communicate using the satellite technology, and dual mode phones, which has a combination of all these technologies. So we will be discussing these technologies in the coming sections. Then global positioning system, GPS. I think you all are very familiar with these things. This GPS system, as you all can see in the Google Maps applications and all the cars, smartphones, and wearable devices, they all come with GPS system where you can track your geographic locations using the satellite signals, and which is also one application of the networking. And then the monitoring system, you can monitor the status or location of individuals, vehicles, or any other object. So you could sometimes use RFID based systems to locate the different objects. As example, in developed countries, when they are doing the farming, all the livestock like the cattle and the animals are tracked using the RFID tags attached to their body, where they move, now which location they are, if they didn't come to the farm back, so we can track the locations likewise. And then there are GPS based systems. So as we discussed earlier, you can track the real-time location, and also electronic health monitoring system like the wearable devices and all, like Fitbit devices. They comes with your networking technology where they can track your health signals like the blood sugar levels, blood pressure level. Think that your blood pressure suddenly gets high. So some message will be passed to your relevant care person that you are in a danger situation. Likewise, we can use the electronic health monitors. And then another application of networking technology is the wireless power transmission. So all the wireless charging devices, you can keep your phone on a certain device, and without any wired connection, your phone gets charged. So that is the power transmit wirelessly from that wireless charger to the mobile device. So that is also another application of the networking. And then multimedia networking. So all your multimedia devices like televisions are now can be converted to your normal television systems in your home can now be converted into smart TVs by using this networking devices. So something like Dialog View Mini, the Google TV has Chromecast. So you can connect using these devices, you can connect to the internet, and they are come with wireless technologies, and you can connect the TV with the internet and convert your conventional TV into a small network and a smart TV. And then another application, I think that you all are very familiar again, that is the video conferencing, where rather without not individuals not physically meeting, they are being in different regional locations, but you're having online real-time face-to-face meetings. That all these platforms like Zoom, Microsoft Teams are all now working because of this video conferencing technology. That is one another application of the networking. And also it facilitates collaborative or work group computing. So where all the teams can work together on one document or a one project, one application. So those application we call as collaborative software. So examples like Microsoft Office 365 or the G Suite applications like the Gmail, Google Drive, Google Sheets, Google Docs, they all comes with collaborative facility because that is also enabled through the networking technologies. And then telecommuting or teleworking. So individuals work at home or maybe while traveling because of this networking facilities. All these collaborative softwares are there, video technologies are there, video conferencing technologies are there. So because of that, the workers don't need to go to work place physically, but you can work from home or even work while you are traveling, having holidays. So that we call as telecommuting or teleworking. And then business process outsourcing. So business process outsourcing is where you contract out the operations of a special business process to a third party service provider who are specialized in it, so they can provide it as a lowest cost. So this business process outsourcing can be now facilitated smoothly with the networking technologies. Even you can contract out your operations to foreign countries as well, because you can easily manage the contacts with this third party using the networking tech. And also another famous thing, I think you all have heard this word freelancing. So remote freelancing working has also been increased, where you do specific work for different clients without committing to full-time employment using online platforms. Then crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is where you collect the services, ideas, contents, and opinions through the larger group of people or users and give the information back to that same group or the same user. Something like Google Maps, where they track all the data information from the user's devices and then give the real-time traffic data back to the Google Maps users. So that is we call as crowdsourcing. And then telemedicine. In the medical field or the healthcare field, we use networking technology to provide all the medical services and the information. So where the surgeries all happen without the doctor being present physically, we call as telesurgeries. And teleconsultations or online real-time consultations happen through the video conferencing platform without the doctor physically meeting the patient. So that is another application of the networking technology. Then we can discuss about the data transmission characteristic. So in a network, we told that we are communicating electronically. So what we communicate is the data. So when the data passes from one device to the other, we call it as data transmission. So when transmitting data, there are a few characteristics that you have to consider. One is the bandwidth. Bandwidth refers to the amount of data that can be transferred in a given period, at a specific period. How much data that you can transfer is referred to as the bandwidth, and we measure the bandwidth using the bits per second. So it's kind of a performance measurement of a network. So if you can share the larger bandwidth size, so that network, you prefer most to have such network where you have a larger bandwidth. So when you are going to get a networking connections or internet connections also, you check the bandwidth. Now it could be your upload bandwidth, where when you are uploading your documents to the internet, or when you are download bandwidth. So likewise, you can check the bandwidth of a network. And then whether the network communicate analog signals or digital signal. The data can be either represented as analog or digital signal. So analog signals are all the voice and the music data in their natural form itself. So one such example for analog signal is your normal conventional telephone system. So the data transmit as waves. But when it comes to all the digital devices, including computers, smartphones, they only identify data using the electronic format. So the digital signals, where we have only two states, 0 and 1. At one stage, the data could be in 0 form and 1 form. So if I show you using a diagram, so this is how the analog signals communicate, and this is how the digital signals communicate. And now we are going to talk about different networking media. So networking media could be categorized into main two as wired network connections, which we call as guided media, or the other one, wireless network connection, unguided media. So wired network, as the name itself implies, the computers and the other devices on the network are physically connected via cables to the network. So we use wired connections to connect the devices in the network. So it's like your conventional telephone networks, cable TV networks, and also we have wireless network connection, which we call as unguided media. So these don't use any physical cables. Instead of that, they send data through air between the devices. So as example, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, satellite TV connection, they all are examples for wireless network connection. So now we'll discuss about what are the different types of wired networking media. So there are three types of wired networking media: twisted pair cables, coaxial cables, and the fiber optic cable. So in twisted pair cable, it is made up of pairs of thin strands of insulated wire twisted together. So if I show you with the diagram, so here you can see a twisted pair cable. So here you can see pairs of copper wires are insulated with the plastic coating and twisted together, and then it is covered with a plastic covering. So these twisted pair is the least expensive networking cable, and which has been used for a longer period of time. And when it comes to the coaxial cable, they are originally developed to carry a large number of high-speed video transmission at one time, such as to deliver cable TV services. So as they can transmit video transmission with a high speed, so these are mostly used in the cable TV and TV antennas and all. You can see this coaxial cable as in here. So they have 4 layers, and the last layer has the innermost layer has a copper wire, and they are covered with a white insulating material, and then with a woven or braided metal, and then covered with a plastic covering from the most outer layer. And now we have the latest technology, fiber optic cable, which is the newest and the fastest of the wired transmission. So all the internet service providers are now promoting this fiber optic cable using their speed or the fast because of this reason, because the data travels as it contains multiple clear glass or plastic fibers, which is about the thickness of a human, and the data travels as light rays inside that, which is more faster. So as you can see in this diagram. So these are the three main types of wired networking media. And then we will talk about wireless networking media. So one of the wireless networking media is the radio signal, so which the data are sent through the airways. So as example, Bluetooth connection that you all have in your mobile devices. So, and also you can connect wireless keyboard, a mouse, and headphones using this Bluetooth connection, which is connect the data sent through the airwaves, but in Bluetooth, it is a short range radio signal because only a small area can be covered from the Bluetooth. But you can expand further by using the connection such as Wi-Fi. Then it becomes a medium range radio signal. So one example for medium range radio signal is the Wi-Fi, where you can connect up to 200-meter radius of devices, and you can connect all the devices wirelessly into these using this Wi-Fi technology. So in radio signal, the frequencies are measured using the hertz. So another one example of radio signal, short range radio signal, is NFC, which is called as near field communication. So as the word implies, it enables short range communication between the compatible devices. So you can, as example, where we have this contactless payment touch and pay system, they use this NFC technology where your device connected with the payment device and get the payment through your mobile device to the other device. So you can watch this video later and get an understanding about NFC further. So this is one of the short range communication, radio signal communication technology similar to Bluetooth. And then we have cellular radio transmission, which use cellular towers within cells, and calls are transferred from cell tower to cell tower as the individual moves. So if I show you from this diagram, so let's say while you are traveling from Colombo to Gampaha, you take a call. So at the first instance, you take the call, you are connected to the tower in the Colombo. And then while you are traveling through the area, then these are cellular towers, and your data, your call get disconnected and connected with the next cell tower. That is, let's say you have moved around to near Kadavath or something. So that closest tower will get your call connected. You don't feel it, but the call transferred from cell to cell. And then when you move near Gampaha, it transmit to the closest cellular tower. And if you are taken from to a landline connection from your mobile, it switch it from a switching office and then goes through the regular telephone network to the plain old telephone service or the regular landline connection at the home. Different transmission frequencies are used to avoid interference and allow multiple conversations to take place via a single tower at one time. So these are widely used. And when it comes to the cellular technology, so it has evolved over the time from 1G connections to 5G connections nowadays. So if we compare this evolution, as you all can see, throughout the evolution, what has changed? What has changed is the bandwidth. The bandwidth has increased, and therefore now, so at the very earlier time, only a small bandwidth was there, and you can take only a voice calls and then later improve to text and then to send emails and the low resolution videos. And now we can even connect with, when there are 5G connections, we can even connect with different networking devices and facilitate a lot of activities. Then the next type of wireless networking media is the microwave and the satellite transmission. So they can send large quantities of data at high speed over long distance. Microwave signals can be sent or received using microwave stations or communication satellite. So these are applied in the satellite television system that you have, the GPS systems and satellite phones, these technologies apply. So that's about the different networking media. And now we will talk about the networking architecture. So what do you mean by the networking architecture? So it is the configuration of the computers, devices, and the media on a network. So how they are communicated or how they are designed to communicate with each other. The architecture refers to the arrangement or the design of the networking. So there are two types of networking architecture. One is client-server network, where there are devices, the client devices. So example is where we connect from our mobile to internet. So your mobile acts as the client and the internet servers will give you the requested information. So the PC or other device on the network that request or utilize networking resources are called as the client, and the server is the computer that processes the client request and respond back with the data that the client requests. So that is the client server network. And then there is another kind of networking architecture which we call as peer-to-peer networks, where a central server is not present here. All computers in the network work at the same functional level. One computer connect with the other computer. So users have direct access to computers and devices attached to the network. These are less complicated and less expensive to implement than a client-server network. Content is exchanged over the internet directly between users without going through a server. Then we are going to talk about the different network types. So these types are categorized based on the networking size and the coverage area. So one type is the personal area network, a network that connects computers and devices in an individual's workspace with wired or wireless technologies. So this is a very smaller, it covers only a smaller size and a coverage area. It's like you connect your phone and the laptop with a Bluetooth connection or your home Wi-Fi. So something like that we can take as a personal area network. This is designed to enable those connected devices to communicate and share resources within that smaller area. And then you can go to a local area network, where a network that connects computers and devices in a limited geographic area like a home, office building, or a school. So in all your computer labs in the university, so you can see a LAN connection, local area network within a one specific geographical area boundary. And then you have wireless LANs, where you are not using any physical wires. You are using wireless technology to create your local area network. We call as wireless LAN. And then you have metropolitan area network, a network that connects several local area networks together in a one metropolitan area, in one city or one district. Likewise, you connect together all the offices, universities, all in one district connected together. We call as a metropolitan area network. And then a larger network is a wide area network, a network that covers a large geographic area. So it has several LAN connections connected all around the world, where it is mostly publicly accessible. Or best example is the internet, that you connect where everyone around the world can simply connect to internet. And then another type of networks can be identified under the term organizational networking. So how different networking technologies used differently by different organizations, you can categorize as intranet, extranet, and the internet. So intranet means a private network such as the local area network within a company. So that is designed to be used by the organization employees and is set up like the internet. So it is something like internet. You can communicate with the devices. You can share resources with the devices, but only by the authorized persons within the organization. You have to have a special login and then use the network. And when it comes to the extranet, so that is an extended version of the intranet. So your intranet is extended to some of the authorized outside parties, maybe your customers, suppliers, business partners, likewise to some authorized persons, you have extended your network. So that is extranet. And as example, when you all go to Daras or eBay, AliExpress or some websites like that, once you log in with your credentials, you can access some special details rather than the normal homepage that you go from the internet and search. Because you are a registered customer there with your credentials, you can access the extranet and get the information, right? And the internet is worldwide collection of separate but interconnected networks accessed daily by billions of people using variety of devices. No restrictions. Anybody on the network can access this information. So all the home pages of the websites like Daras, AliExpress, eBay, anyone can see the same content, anyone can access it. But once if you log in with your special credential, you can have a separate view for you, separate information for you. That means you are connected to the extranet. So let's say that organization's particular employees can record their daily attendance, can get information about the company by logging in with their employee IDs or special credentials. So that is the intranet. Right? Likewise, the organizations, networking are used in different levels. And also there's another type of network, that is virtual private networks, we call as VPNs also. It is a private secure path across a public network that is set up to allow authorized users. So VPN is necessary for setting up both intranet and extranet environment to establish secure connection over the internet. So as the intranet and extranet also uses the technology of internet, but they limit it only to authorized parties, they can use the VPN technology to do that. And now we are going to talk about the networking devices. So first one is the network adapter, which is used to connect a device to a network or the internet, especially a PC to a network or the internet. This is also called as network interface card, and also they are available in various formats. So adapter must match the type of network that you use, whether it is a cable network like Ethernet, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. You should have a proper networking adapter, and some are often built into portable computers like laptops and all. They comes with the inbuilt network adapter. And then we have switches which connect multiple devices together and forward the packets. Packet means it is a set of data. And a set of data based on their destinations within the local network. So once you send a set of data, they check the particular location and send that data across that network. And a router is a device that receives and analyzes set of data or the packets and then route them to the respective device or the respective destination device. And then we have the wireless access points, which facilitate the connection of wireless devices to an existing wired local area network and allow them to access resources on the network. So they provide the connectivity in a wired network. They provide connectivity to wireless network. So a wired network can be connected to a wireless access point, and then through the wireless access point, all the wireless devices can be connected to that wired network. So in many home and small office scenario, these functionalities are often combined in a single device, which we call as a wireless router, as you can see in this below diagram. Then there are some terminologies that you need to learn when you are learning the networking. So one such term is the Internet Protocol, IP address. A unique identification number assigned to every device on the internet. So it is like your NIC number, you all have a NIC number that uniquely identifies you. So that similarly, all the devices on the network has this IP address, Internet Protocol address, to uniquely identify where the data comes from, to which device the data goes. So there are two standards. One is IPv4 standard, where the four numbers with the values ranging from 0 to 255 separated by a period was used, like in this example. So there, the limitation was only approximately 4.3 billion IP addresses could be generated. But with the increase of the networking devices now connected to the internet, we needed more IP address. So the IPv6 standard came, and it has 8 groups of 4 hexadecimal digits, which we can represent an infinite number of IP addresses using this format. And then we need to learn about the domain name. So domain name is a common name for a website, so you don't have to remember the IP address. So for the websites also, we have a IP address, but it is very difficult to remember someone's NIC number. No? So that's why we have a name for that person, and we call using that name to that person without rather calling from the NIC number. So similarly, as you can't remember the IP address of a one particular website, we give a name to that website, which is the domain name, and then you type the domain name. And so here is example. So if you want to access this website, www.example.com, so this is the domain name of the website, and this is the IP address. Rather, you can't remember these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. You remember using the domain name, but the web server knows your website from the IP address to give you back the website, the information that you request. So what we need is, we need a domain name system or a domain name server that acts as a directory of website on the internet. It translates domain names to IP address. So this has a list of domain names and their respective IP address. So once you give the domain name, they find what is the IP address and gives the IP address to web server. So the web server can identify what is the website or what is the information using that IP address and gives it back to the user. That is the domain name and the domain name servers. So packet is the fundamental unit of data transmitted over the internet. You break down the large information that you share into small pieces called as packets and then transmitted over the internet or the networks. Then when communicating using the network, you need to follow some protocols. Protocols mean the set of rules that allow devices to exchange information. So one such protocol is the TCP/IP protocol. That means transmission control protocol. So this has 2 protocols. One is the transmission control protocol, which is responsible for the delivery of data. And other one is internet protocol, which provide the addresses and routing information. So when you are sending information over the internet, let's look at this example. So you can see a computer A, B, C connected with the network. And there are several routers here. And here is the information that you want to send from A device. Let's say you want to send this information to the B device. So how it happened? So from the transmission control protocol, they break down this information into smaller pieces called as packets. And then the internet protocol, the IP protocol will assign these packets to the respective device's IP address. And they are being transmitted through the routers into the respective device. And then again, transmission control protocol will collect all the pieces and convert into the information. So that is what happened using the transmission control protocol and the internet protocol. When you are transferring data over the internet, we use this TCP/IP protocol. And then we have hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP, and also that is to display the web pages, we use this protocol. That is why when you are typing a web addresses, you are typing HTTP, and mostly use is the HTTPS, which is the secure hypertext transfer protocol. You type the HTTPS and then your web address. And then FTP, that is a file transfer protocol. And also it also has a secure file transfer protocol, SFT. When you are transferring large files over the internet, you use this file transfer protocol. And to send and receive emails, the protocol uses the SMTP, we call as Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Protocol used to send and receive the emails is called as the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. And then we have the networking standards. A networking standard specifies technical requirements, specifications, and guidelines that must be employed to ensure the consistency, efficiency, and quality of services of all networking devices, so that all network devices communicate smoothly in a same phase. So one such standard is the Ethernet, which is most widely used standard for the wired networks. It is typically used with the local area networks and can be used in conjunction with the twisted pair, coaxial, or fiber optic cabling that we have learned before. The most common today are the fast Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet, and the 10 gigabit Ethernet. Relatively new Ethernet development is power over Ethernet. That means the built-in electrical power comes with the technology, so that you don't need to bring electrical power over cables with you. And the next standard is Wi-Fi, one of the most common networking standard used with the wireless local area network. So Ethernet is basically for the wired connections, and Wi-Fi is the standard used for the wireless networking technology. And this uses the IEEE 802.11 standard. So Wi-Fi is the current standard for wireless network. And so nowadays we have the Wi-Fi 6, which is the latest generation and the standard for wireless networking. And now, as the last part, we are going to discuss about the trends in the networking field. So with the advancement of the networking technology, these trends have evolved, and one such trend is the cloud computing. The cloud refers to the applications, services, and the data storage located on the internet. Rather, without downloading the various software, without getting the various infrastructure technologies, or physically, you can now access all these things over the internet using the networking technology that we call as cloud computing. Cloud service providers rely on giant server farms and massive storage devices that are connected via the internet. Cloud computing allows users to access software and data storage services on the internet. So as you can see in this diagram, so there are three main models in cloud computing. One is the infrastructure as a service. That means all the technological infrastructure that you need, like servers, storage devices, networking devices, are now facilitated as online access over the internet services. You don't need to buy these things physically. You can use the infrastructure as a service technology. And then you have platform as a service level, where you need all the software application platforms, where you need the platforms for the development purposes, the runtime environment, operating systems. All these are also now offered as a cloud-based service, so that you don't need to pay and buy these things and install it to your own device. You can access them over the internet. And similarly, most used by you as undergraduate is this software as a service. So that is all the software application that you use now available in form of cloud-based softwares. So you can access over the internet and use. So rather, if you take the example Microsoft Office 365, the general Microsoft Office application, you have to get the license and install them in your computers. But in this software as a service model, you don't need to do so. You can log into a Microsoft account and access the service over the internet. You don't need to separately install them into your device. So that is software as a service. So those are the three cloud computing models. And then the data centers are there. A data center is a facility used to house computer systems and associated components such as telecommunication and storage systems. So when you are working with networks, you need servers and the devices to communicate and store the data. Servers are used for that. So data center is a place where you have a lot of servers at one location, and you can rent out the service of these servers here. Rather, just you yourself buying servers for your networks is very expensive and difficult to manage. So you can rent out the service of a data center which managed it by a specific party to you, and you can host your data there. They are built with redundant or backup power supply. So in case of any power outage, they have the backup power so that your data won't lost or your connections won't lost. And the redundant data communication connections are there. Proper environmental controls like the air conditioning system, fire suppressions, everything are there. And also the security controls are there properly. So to build such a one by your organization is expensive. So there are already built data centers managed by relevant parties. So you can get the service from them, rent out the service, and you can store your data in a one server within that data center, and your data will be managed by them for a particular charge. And nowadays, with the advancement of cloud computing, you can see cloud data centers rather than physically developing all these things with the specifically with the use of infrastructure as a service model of the cloud computing. We have this. So one such example is AWS. You can search and see later. So they use this cloud data center concept. Why we need cloud computing? So cloud computing benefits are you don't need to have separate softwares or install them, and you don't need to upgrade time to time. Everything managed by the software vendor itself. So these are available from any computer, so easily accessible on any device. Can scale to a large number of users easily. So you can share a one file on a Google Doc or a Microsoft Office 365 easily by adding people to it. New applications can be up and running very quickly. Services can be leased for a limited time on an as-needed basis. Your information is not lost if your hard disk crashes or your laptop is lost or stolen because they are located over the internet. You are not limited by the available memory or disk space on the computer because you are not permanently installed it into your specific device. And when it comes to cloud computing, there are some problems or the concern that people have. That is basically one about is the security, because your data is there with a third party and all your things are managed by a third party. So security concerns are there. And the access. So if you don't have a proper internet connection, dedicated internet connection, you can't access them. And it isn't always as easy as it seems to get used to it. And services from a giant host might not be as good as what you get in-house. And also, they are locked into a specific service provider. So, which are some of the concerns faced by users of cloud computing. And the next trend with the networking technology improvements is the Internet of Things, which we call as IoT. A network of billions of devices, each with their own unique network address around the world with embedded electronics, allowing them to connect to the internet for purpose of collecting and sharing data, all without the involvement of the human beings. You can connect all your devices to IoT device, and you can enable that device to control all the other things like smart home concept, where all the switching on and off of the electronic devices and everything controlled by the device itself. So without no human interference, that are networked together. So and smart home, smart city, all these concepts are, and the factories are automated control using the IoT devices. So you can automate lot of processes. You can handle you can let devices to handle all the other processes devices rather with limiting the human involvement by using the Internet of Things technology. And the next trend is the edge computing. Edge computing relocates certain storage and computation resources away from the central data center and closer to the source of the data itself. It is an emerging technology that enables processing data at higher rates and volumes, leading to more action-oriented outcomes in the real time. So if you take some industries and sectors, they are collecting data from various sources, and then they have to send them to servers, and then later they process them and get the insights. But nowadays, with the edge computing, all these servers and the other computational resources, storage resources are located with the data collection device itself, so that the real-time processing, real-time insights could be delivered, and the action-oriented outcomes could be generated real-time using that technology. So that is the edge computing. So those are widely used in different industries like banking sector, retail sector, manufacturing, healthcare. So where they collect real-time data about the customers and the market, they can use the edge computing to process them real time and get action-oriented outcomes. With that, we have come to the end of the chapter 5 on networking and communication. Thank you. අද අපි කතා කරේ networking and communication. එහෙම නැත්නම් ජාලකරණය හා sannivedanaya කියන එක ගැන තමයි මේ පාඩමේ කතා කරේ. එතකොට මේකෙදි අපි කතා කරා computer network එකක්. පරිගණක ජාලයක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක. එතකොට විවිධ වූ පරිගණක සහ උපාංග කීපයක් එකිනෙකට සම්බන්ධ කරලා දත්ත සහ තොරතුරු sannivedanaya කර ගැනීම අරමුණෙන් ඒවා එකිනෙකට share කරගෙන communicate කරන purpose එකෙන් අපි පරිගණක ජාලගතකරණය කිරීම සිදු කරනවා. එතකොට ඔයාලා පාවිච්චි කරන අන්තර්ජාලයේ ඉඳන් ඔයාලගේ මේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ දකින්න තියෙන කම්පියුටර් ලැබ් වල තියෙන එකේ ඉඳන්ම විවිධ වූ ප්‍රමාණවල ජාල පරිගණක ජාල අපිට දකින්නට තියෙනවා අද කාලේ. එතකොට අපි කතා කරා ඒවා කොහොමද භාවිතයේ පවතින්නේ කියන එක. එතකොට අන්තර්ජාලය ඔයාලා භාවිත කරන දුරකථන ජාල, GPS තාක්ෂණය, විවිධ monitoring systems, එතකොට මේ wireless power transmissions, multimedia අපිට smart TV වගේ දේවල් හදා ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට video conferencing, collaborative communications සහ අපිට telecommunicating නිවසේ සිට වැඩ කිරීම සහ ගමන් කෙරෙන ගමන් වැඩ කරන මේ වගේ දේවල්. ඒ වගේම අපේ business process outsourcing, freelance වැඩ කරන්න crowd sourcing සහ telemedicine වගේ විවිධ ක්ෂේත්‍රවල අපිට මේ ජාලකරණය එහෙම නැත්නම් පරිගණක ජාල තාක්ෂණය භාවිතා කරලා විවිධ පහසුකම් සලසා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ අපි කතා කරා දත්ත උවමාරු කිරීමේදී පරිගණක ජාලයක් හරහා මොනවාද සැලකිලිමත් විය යුතු කරුණු කියන එක. එතකොට අපි එතනදී bandwidth එක එහෙම නැත්නම් දත්ත කොච්චර ප්‍රමාණයක් එකවර හුවමාරු කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන එක කතා කරා. ඊළඟට දත්ත හුවමාරු වෙන ක්‍රමය ඇනලොග් විදිහටද ඩිජිටල් තාක්ෂණයෙන්ද ඒක හුවමාරු වෙන්නේ, ඩිජිටල් සංඥා විදිහටද ඇනලොග් සංඥා විදිහටද හුවමාරු වෙන්නේ කියලා අපි කතා කරා. මේ තියෙන්නේ ඒ රූප සටහන ඇනලොග් යන්නේ වේව්ස් විදිහට, තරංග විදිහට, ඩිජිටල් සංඥා හැම වෙලේම බිංදුව එක අතර තමයි තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට අපි කතා කරා networking ජාලකරණයේදී භාවිතා කරන විවිධ මාධ්‍යයන්. එතකොට රැහන් රහිත මාධ්‍ය සහ රැහන් සහිත. wired කියන්නේ රැහන් සහිත, wireless කියන්නේ රැහන් රහිත මාධ්‍ය. ඒවට උදාහරණ විදිහට අපි එතකොට අපි මේ wired එහෙම නැත්නම් රැහන් සහිත වලදී කතා කරා twisted pair, coaxial, fiber optic cable කියන දේවල්. එතකොට රැහන් රහිත දේවල් වලදී radio signal තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, cellular radio transmission technology එක තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් microwave and satellite transmissions කියන දේවල් අපි කතා කරා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි කතා කරා ජාලකරණය හැදිලා තියෙන විදිහ, networking architecture එක ගැන. එතකොට client server architecture එක සහ peer to peer architecture එක තමයි ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් අපි කතා කරපු architectures වර්ග දෙක. ඒ කොහොමද අපේ network එක ජාලකරණය වෙලා තියෙන, පරිගණක කොහොමද එකිනෙකට සම්බන්ධ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ, communication වෙන්නේ කියන එක. ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් client server එකකදී server එකක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ server එකෙන් තමයි clients ලා හැමදේම ඉල්ලන්නේ. server එක අපි පැත්තට දෙනවා. ඒතර peer to peer එකේ එහෙම නෙමෙයි, client computer අතර connect වෙලා හැදිච්ච එකක්. එහෙම server එකකින් අරන් දෙන එහෙම මුකුත් නැහැ. ඊට පස්සේ අපි කතා කරා විවිධ ජාල වර්ග. ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් අපි ඒවා වර්ග කරේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ coverage area එක, එහෙම නැත්නම් වපසරිය ප්‍රමාණය අනුව. ඒකට personal area network එකක් කියන්නේ පෞද්ගලිකව පොඩි ප්‍රමාණයක අපි හදාගත්තු දෙයක්. ඊට පස්සේ local area network කියන්නේ ඊට වඩා ටිකක් ලොකු පොඩි වපසරියක්, ඔය ඔෆිස් එකක්, බිල්ඩින් එකක්, ස්කූල් එක, යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ ලැබ් එකක්, ඒ වගේ ප්‍රමාණයක්. ඒ වගේ ඒවා අපි wire communication එහෙම නැත්නම් රැහන් රහිතව සම්බන්ධ කරනවා නම් අපි කිව්වා wireless LAN එකක් කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි මේ වගේ විවිධ LANs කිහිපයක් එකට සම්බන්ධ කරලා එක ප්‍රදේශයක, එක නාගරික ප්‍රදේශයක් cover වෙන විදිහට හදාගත්තොත් අපි කිව්වා metropolitan area network එකක් කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒ වගේ ඒවා කීපයක් එකතු වෙලා අපේ මේ ලොකු wide area network එක හැදිලා තියෙනවා, වඩා පුළුල් එකක්. ඒතර අන්තර්ජාලය තමයි හොඳම උදාහරණය. විවිධ ප්‍රදේශවල විවිධ ජාලයන් වල ඉන්න අයට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ පුළුල් wide area network එකට. ඊළඟට අපි කතා කරා ආයතනික මට්ටමින් ජාලකරණය සිදු කරද්දී ඉන්ට්‍රානෙට් අභ්‍යන්තර ජාල ඒ කියන්නේ ව්‍යාපාරයේ අභ්‍යන්තර පාර්ශවයන්ට විතරක් සීමා කරලා තියෙනවා. එක්ස්ට්‍රානෙට් අපි ඒකම දිගුවක් දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ බලය සහිත අපි අවසර දුන්න බාහිර පාර්ශවයන් කීපයකට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට බාහිර ජාල කියලා අපි කියනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අන්තර්ජාලය ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එක ඕනම කෙනෙකුට ඕනම විදිහට ඇක්සස් කරලා භාවිතා කරන්න පුළුවන් අන්තර්ජාලය. ඒ වගේම අපි කතා කරා virtual private network VPN එකක්. එතකොටයි මේක වැදගත් වෙන්නේ අපිට ඉන්ට්‍රානෙට් එක්ස්ට්‍රානෙට් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකෙන් ඉන්ට්‍රානෙට් එකක් එක්ස්ට්‍රානෙට් එකක් ආරක්ෂිත විදිහට වෙන කාටවත් අපේ ඒවා බලන්න බැරි වෙන්න අපි මාස්ක් එකක් දාගෙන ආරක්ෂිත විදිහට ගිහින් අර ඇක්සස් කරන්න යන එකට අපිට මේ virtual private network තාක්ෂණය භාවිතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට ඕන වෙනවා ඉගෙන ගන්න networking devices. මේ ජාලකරණය සහ සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච උපාංග මොනවාද කියන එක. ඒතර පළවෙනි දේ තමයි අපිට network adapt එකක් ඕන. ඒක නැතුව අපිට බෑ අපේ කම්පියුටර් එක අන්තර්ජාලයට හෝ ජාලයකට සම්බන්ධ කරන්න. ඊට පස්සේ අපි කතා කරා ස්විචය, රවුටරය කියන දේවල් ඕන එන දත්ත අදාළ උපාංග වලට හුවමාරු කරන්න. සහ ඒ වගේම අපි කතා කරා wireless access points කියන දේවල් wired connection එකකට wireless connectivity එකක් හදලා දීලා ඒ devices connect කරන්න ඒක භාවිතා කරනවා. දැන් අද කාලේ නම් ගොඩක් හැමතැනම wireless routers තමයි හයි කරලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒවට ඍජුවම සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න පුළුවන් wireless device වලින්. ඊට පස්සේ අපි කතා කරා මේ ජාලකරණය සම්බන්ධ වූ විවිධ තාක්ෂණික වචන කිහිපයක්. ඒතර එකක් තමයි internet protocol address එක. අපි කියන IP address එක කියලා අපි දීලා තියෙනවා හැම අන්තර්ජාලයට සම්බන්ධ හැම උපාංගයකටම අදාළව විවිධ අංකයක් දීලා තියෙනවා. විශ්වවිශේෂී අංකයක්. ඒකෙන් තමයි අපි අඳුරගන්නේ මොකෙන්ද දත්ත ආවේ මොන device එකටද දත්ත යන්නේ කියන එක. ඊළඟට අපි domain name එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒකෙන් තමයි අපේ වෙබ්සයිට් එක අපි අඳුරගන්නේ පහසුවෙන් අර අපිට වෙබ්සයිට් එකට තියෙන IP address එක මතක තියාගන්න බැරි නිසා එතකොට domain name system එකෙන් අපිට ඕන අර IP address එක දුන්නම අපිට ඕන domain name එක දුන්නම IP address එක හොයලා ඒ වෙබ්සයිට් එක අරන් දෙන එක කරන්නේ domain name system එක. ඊට පස්සේ අපි packet එකක් කියන එක කතා කරා. packet එකක් කියන්නේ අන්තර්ජාලය හරහා හුවමාරු වෙන එක දත්ත කොටසකට අපි කියනවා packet එකක් කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි දත්ත හුවමාරු කරද්දී භාවිතා කරන විවිධ protocols නීති රීති සම්බන්ධයෙන් කතා කරා. ඒතර protocols 4ක් TCP/IP දත්ත හුවමාරුවේදී අදාළ device එක හොයලා ඒකට යවන එක packet කඩලා යවන ඒක කරන්නේ මේ TCP සහ IP කියන protocol දෙක එකතු වෙලා හැදිච්ච TCP/IP protocol එකකින්. ඊට පස්සේ HTTP hypertext transfer protocol තමයි web pages අපිට අරන් දෙන්නේ. FTP කියන්නේ files හුවමාරු කරද්දී අන්තර්ජාලය හරහා භාවිතා වෙන්නේ file transfer protocol එක. SMTP කියන්නේ අන්තර්ජාලය හරහා email යවද්දී ලබා ගනිද්දී භාවිතා කරන protocol එක simple mail transfer protocol එක. එතකොට අපි ඒක රූප සටහන් මගින් බැලුවා මේ TCP/IP protocol එක කොහොමද සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ කියන එක. ඊළඟට අපි කතා කරා network standards. එතකොට අපේ network එකට සම්බන්ධ වෙලා තියෙන විවිධ උපාංග තියෙනවානේ. ඒ හැම උපාංගයකම තියෙන්න ඕන මෙන්න මේ වගේ requirement මේ විදිහට ඒව වැඩ කරන්න ඕන කියලා අපි හඳුන්වා දීලා තියෙනවා standard එකක්. ඒතර විවිධ ආයතන IEEE වගේ ආයතන ISO වගේ ආයතන වලින් මේ standards හදනවා. එතකොට ඒ අනුව මේ devices වැඩ කරාම හැම device එකක්ම එක විදිහට වැඩ කරනවා සහ smoothly අපිට data communicate කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඒකදී wire තාක්ෂණයේදී නැත්නම් රහන් සහිත ජාලවලදී අපි භාවිතා කරන වඩාත්ම භාවිතා කරන්නේ ඊතර්නෙට් කියන ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එක. රහන් රහිත ජාලවලදී අපි වඩාත් භාවිතා කරන්නේ Wi-Fi කියන ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එක. ඊට පස්සේ අපි අන්තිමට කතා කරා මේ ජාලකරණය හා සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච නවතම සොයා ගැනීම කිව්ව ට්‍රෙන්ඩ්ස් කිහිපයක්. එතකොට මේ cloud computing කියන සංකල්පය ගැන කතා කරා අපි. cloud computing කියන්නේ අපේ පරිගණකය වලට ඕන කරන උපාංග ඒ වගේ තියෙන hardware software මේ කියන හැම දෙයක්ම දත්ත කියන දේවල් අපි අන්තර්ජාලය හරහා access කරලා භාවිතා කරන එක. ඒවා අපේ පෞද්ගලික උපාංග වලට වෙන වෙනමම install කරලා පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැතුව අන්තර්ජාලය හරහා ඒ software නම් software දෙන කෙනා හරහාම ගන්නවා. ඒ වගේ මාධ්‍යයක් අපි කිව්වා cloud computing කියලා model එකකට. එතකොට ඒකේ අපි models තුනක් කතා කරනවා ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් infrastructure as a service IaaS, PaaS platform as a service and SaaS software as a service කියන model තුන අපි කතා කරා cloud computing යටතේ. ඒ වගේම අපි data center එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක කතා කරා. අපිට වෙන වෙනම servers තියාගෙන ඒවා maintain කරන්න ගියාම power ප්‍රශ්න එනවා, security mechanism හැම එකක්ම අපිට දෙන්න බෑ. ඒකට ඒවා break වෙන්නේ නැතුව එක දිගට ඒ වගේ communicate වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒවා අපිට කරන්න හරි අමාරුයි. ගණන් මිල අධිකයි. එතකොට අපිට පුළුවන් data center කියන අය ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි එක එක අයගේ දත්ත ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ data centers වල අපිට තියාගෙන මේන්ටේන් කරලා දෙනවා. ඒ වගේදී අර කියන පහසුකම් ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. අපිට තියෙන්නේ මුදලක් ගෙවලා ඒ සර්විස් එක ගන්න. ඒකට අද කාලේ cloud computing දියුණුවත් එක්ක මේ data centers cloud data centers බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට cloud computing වල වාසි සහ ඒ වගේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න ගැනත් අපි කෙටියෙන් කතා කරා. මොනවාද ඇයි අපිට cloud computing ඕන වෙන්නේ සහ cloud computing භාවිතා කරද්දී අපිට එන ප්‍රශ්න මොනවාද කියන එකත් අපි කතා කරා. ඊළඟට අපි කතා කරපු ක්ෂණය තමයි Internet of Things IoT කියන එක. එතකොට අපිට පුළුවන් අපේ මිනිස් ශ්‍රමය වැඩිපුර භාවිතා නොකර device එකකට විවිධ වූ devices සම්බන්ධ කරලා මේ අපේ වෙන processes ගොඩක් දේවල් automate කරන්න අර device එක හරහා සිදුවෙන විදිහට human interaction එක අඩු කරන්න. එතකොට ඊළඟ දේ තමයි edge computing. එතකොට edge computing එකේදී කරන්නේ දත්ත එකතු කරන තැනදීම ඒ දත්ත process වෙලා ඒ වගේ ගන්න පුළුවන් insights ඒ වගේ ගන්න පුළුවන් තොරතුරු ලබාගෙන ඒ අදාළ තීරණ ගන්න භාවිතා කරන එක. ඒවා ආය සර්වර් වල තියලා පස්සේ තැනකින් process කරන computing devices වෙන වෙනම භාවිතා කරන්නේ නැතුව එක device එකේ දත්ත දැනෙන තැනදීම ඒක process වෙන device එකයි ඔක්කොම ඒකේ තිබිලා ඒ දේ වෙන්න තමයි edge computing භාවිතා කරන්නේ. ඉතින් ඔය දේවල් තමයි අපි මේ ජාලකරණය හා sannivedanaya පාඩමේදී කතා කරේ. Thank you.